Hello, Cryptowisers. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Milton, and I will be your captain for this episode. All right, Cryptowisers, I have been getting a ton of requests from you on more videos about the Binance Smart Chain. Those of you who are regular Cryptowisers will know that I made a couple of videos on the Binance Smart Chain about a week ago. I made a general video about what it was, how it worked, how you get to use it. That's this one here. And then I also made my top 5 Binance Smart Chain altcoin video. That's this one. Look. No one in crypto is going to get everything right. All of us have our failures, picks we've made that haven't worked out, trades we've made too early, too late, whatever. But I am proud that I was one of the first YouTubers talking about Binance Smart Chain. And I noticed that a lot have been jumping on the bandwagon, and it makes a ton of sense. When I made that video, you can see this is a still shot from that video. DeFi Station was still measuring the liquidity in Binance Smart Chain in millions. It was at $1.3 billion, but they were measuring it still in millions. And as you can see, the top 3 projects in terms of locked liquidity were Venus, Pancake Swap, and Defi Finance. But look at these numbers. 623 million for Venus, 545 for Pancake Swap. Beefy had only 82 million locked in. And then bDollar was 4th at 24 million. This is DeFi Station today, and as you can see, they are measuring it in billions because we are up to 5.4 billion locked into Binance Smart Chain liquidity. And the top 3 have changed. Venus is still number 1, Pancake Swap still number 2, but look at the liquidity. 2.3 billion, 1.7 billion. And at number 3, we now have AutoFarm, which is at 744 million. AutoFarm was indeed one of my picks in this top 5 Binance Smart Chain video. Since that video, I have now used many of the platforms on Binance. So I will have a lot more about AutoFarm and a couple of other gems that I found on Binance that I want to share with you. Also, just a couple of pieces of news and tidbits from the Binance Smart Chain ecosystem. So you asked Cryptowisers, you wanted more Binance Smart Chain content, and you got it. You ask, Milty delivers. So buckle up. This is going to be another exciting episode of Cryptowise. All right, Cryptowisers, let's get into this. First of all, I need to tell you we are still early. That's why I want to talk about Binance Smart Chain some more. Because when you're in crypto day in, day out, 24/7, it can be easy to convince yourself that you're late on something you're in early on. So as I mentioned, I made my last video in and around February 4th. I don't know the exact date, but we were at around 1.3 billion locked into Binance Smart Chain. And even then, I was just following the trends. One, I hated the gas fees I was paying on Ethereum. And then I could see the numbers on Binance Smart Chain starting to climb. There were new projects starting to launch, and you could see some of the smart money moving towards there. That's why I did those videos. Well, since then, obviously, we are now up to 5.5 billion. Prices on these projects have skyrocketed, and the Binance coin BNB itself seems to be hitting new all-time highs every day almost. So again, since I made that video, BNB was around $60. Now it is more than double that at $132.58. But the good news is it seems to have leveled off in this area. We had a huge spike up to an all-time high of 147.36, but since then it's consolidating in this 125 to 140 range. And of course, whenever a coin has such a huge pump, you got to be careful. But the thing is, the BNB coin is the engine that makes the Binance Smart Chain ecosystem work. So as long as Binance Smart Chain is doing well, BNB will do well. And so I'm not too worried about it. I actually think it's going to move higher up. So 5.5 $25 billion almost in Binance Smart Chain. But if we look on DeFi Pulse at the Ethereum DeFi ecosystem, we see that there's almost 40 billion locked in. It had a parabolic rise from December to February. But as we can see here, the last week or so, it's kind of leveled off. It's actually gone down from a top of 41 billion down to 39 billion. And a lot of that money, I think, is the money that's coming into the Binance Smart Chain. And I think there's going to be a lot more to come. Do I think it will ever reach Ethereum numbers? No. But could we reach 25, 30% of what's in Ethereum? I think that's possible. And that would mean a 2 to 3x just if the Ethereum numbers stayed where they are. But as we know, a ton of retail is coming into crypto right now. And so I think that we are still early. I think a lot of that retail money is going to bypass Ethereum because of the gas fees, come straight into Binance Smart Chain. And so if you haven't moved over yet, or if you haven't invested or played around with any of these DeFi protocols here on Binance Smart Chain yet, you're not too late. Okay, I didn't go all in when I discovered it a couple of weeks ago. I've been slowly moving more and more into it, and I'm going to continue to do that. So let's look at some specific projects. Last time on the video, I talked a bit about Pancake Swap, and that is obviously a very, in my opinion, probably the most important platform right now on Binance Smart Chain. And that's saying something because there are some amazing ones, including Venus, which is super important as well. But Pancake Swap is the Uniswap / Sushi Swap of the Binance Smart Chain. As you can see here, the locked in liquidity is at almost 1.7 billion. It's gone parabolic since my last video. And it's a really important one because you can use Pancake with a lot of the other projects we're going to be talking about. So the main farming platforms that aren't Pancake Swap on Binance Smart Chain, you can use your LP tokens, your liquidity providing tokens from PancakeSwap, farm them on other platforms to make higher yield. And so PancakeSwap is kind of in on all the cool stuff happening on the Binance Smart Chain. So obviously, as I said before, you can swap any tokens. I use Pancake a lot just to kind of come in, get the tokens that I want. And I'll be talking about some particular farm yielding platforms, and this is where I get their tokens here on PancakeSwap. So I won't go too in-depth about PancakeSwap. I think it's self-explanatory, but I wanted to touch on a couple of newsy items here on PancakeSwap. Okay, one is the lottery, the cake lottery. I didn't talk about this last time, but if you Cryptowisers remember my video on Mantra DAO, it's this one here, Polkadot Hidden Gem, Mantra DAO. I talked about the Mantra Pool, which is very similar to this lottery that PancakeSwap has. Essentially, you buy lottery tickets using Cake and you can win big prizes. And like Mantra DAO, one of the cool things is a bunch of the cake used in the lottery gets burnt. So every time they do a lottery, a bunch of cake gets burnt, helping the tokenomics of Cake. And the prize pool gets pretty high sometimes. As you can see here, there was even $1 million prize pool up for grabs. That was only last week. But the reason I bring up the lottery specifically is they've made some recent changes. One, they've made it way cheaper. So tickets are now 90% cheaper than they used to be. 1 cake each per ticket. And that's a huge change. So I just wanted you guys to know the lottery right now is very affordable. If you're into this sort of thing, you can win huge prizes and you can enter at a very low cost. Also, those of you who watched my last video, which was on Oracle projects, a lot of you mentioned that I didn't talk about Chain, which is a really cool Oracle project for sure. Didn't quite make my list to talk about, but I thought you might be interested in this little rumor that I found on Twitter. This was only a couple hours ago. The Twitter account @JumperWave tweeted, "Alpha leak on PancakeSwap for ORI on Binance Smart Chain, but the ORI chain team hasn't confirmed yet." So was this a mistake, or is ORI coming to PancakeSwap? Only time will tell, but those of you who love ORI, I'm sure will be excited to hear that they may be coming to PancakeSwap very soon. All right, guys, that's all I really wanted to say about Pancake Swap. Amazing project, though. I have been using it a ton and I have been loving it. But I like some yield farming platforms even better. So let's get into them now, shall we? Looking again on DeFi Station, I will say now that I'm following Binance Smart Chain, clearly certain platforms are rising to the top and they're the ones getting the liquidity. So as I mentioned, AutoFarm has leapfrogged all the way to number 3 at 750 million in locked liquidity. It's up over 24% in liquidity in the last 24 hours. That's over 1% per hour in the last 24, which is incredible. So AutoFarm has its own token, the Auto token. It is now sitting at $8,344, which sounds amazing and is amazing considering when I first covered it, it was down in the hundreds. It hadn't even hit 1,000 yet, and we're at over 8,000. But guys, you know what might be the most incredible thing about this? I think it's undervalued. That's right. I still think this is undervalued. It's at a market cap of just over $100 million. As we know, that is a fraction of some of the major DeFi projects on Ethereum. It's hard to compare any of these projects. They're all, very different, but they're similar in certain ways. If I was to compare it to something, it might be Yearn Finance. And don't at me, guys. I know they're very different, but I just want to have a comparable in terms of market cap to talk about. So the market cap of Yearn Finance is over 700 million. And the locked liquidity in Yearn Finance is only 490 million. So if you go by this ratio of how much liquidity is locked in a platform versus its market cap, AutoFarm has almost 800 million locked in already, and its market cap is only 100 million or so. So I definitely think there's room to grow, in my opinion. Of course, this is not financial advice. You do your own research. But the other great thing about Auto is like all other farming platforms, you don't have to buy the token. You don't have to buy Auto. You can just use the platform and farm for Auto. So this is AutoFarm here. It's autofarm.network. As you can see right now, you can get over 500% yield if you do join the BNB Auto liquidity pool on Pancake Swap. So again, this is why I'm saying Pancake Swap is kind of in the middle of all this cool stuff that's happening. If you want, you can get some Auto. You can do that by exchanging it here. You can exchange for BNB or whatever into Auto. Then you can take your BNB and your Auto and you can add it into the liquidity pool. And then you would take those tokens and you would add them here and you would get this 554% yield. As you can see, you're getting all of that in the Auto token. So that's when I say you don't have to buy Auto to get Auto. You can just use their platform and farm Auto this way if you're worried that the price has skyrocketed too fast and too far. But here's the Auto pool. But then you'll see also they use Venus to farm a lot of the single tokens. So you don't even have to use pairs or liquidity coins. You can just use any of these single tokens here, including BTC, ETH, DOT, and of course, all of these are wrapped into a BEP20 token to be able to be used on the Binance Smart Chain. And then, of course, not only is it the BNB Auto liquidity pool from Pancake Swap, but there's pretty much every farming pool on Pancake Swap is here. You can put your LP tokens here and farm for Auto. And they also have some bDollar pools. So bDollar, another great project being built on the Binance Smart Chain. It's bDollar.fi. And as you can see, they are also one of the fastest growing platforms on Binance Smart Chain. They're here sitting at number 6. And you can use LP tokens from bDollar to get some insane yield right now, guys. Now, I'm not doing the bDollar pools yet. I'm still looking into them. So proceed with caution. I cannot give my personal experience yet on these, but when you're talking 250,000% or 25,000% or 46,000% back in yield, you gotta look further into these because this could be a great opportunity on a platform that is obviously growing in popularity. Look at this past week. They basically went from 0 all the way to 87 million in a week. So they cannot be ignored. But I'm a huge fan of Auto. Obviously, with any of these farming platforms, be careful. Auto has been audited, but that does not take all the risk away. Obviously, when you're dealing with smart contract platforms like this, the idea of a hack happening or something like that is a real risk. So be very, very careful. But as long as you are aware of that risk, I have to say my experience with AutoFarm has been incredible so far. The next yield farming platform on Binance Smart Chain that I want to talk about is Acryptos. That is number 4. It's also the fastest growing one in the last 24 hours. Acryptos, no longer a secret. It is now number 4 on the Binance Smart Chain in terms of liquidity at 170 million. Clearly, there's a big gap now between AutoFarm at number 3 and everything else. Acryptos has leapt over BFI Finance. It's another really cool platform that is offering some insane yield right now, so it is one that I'm also using. Acryptos. Okay, so this is the site here, and this works very much like the AutoFarm site. You have your different pools that you can add either your tokens or your liquidity tokens to, and then you see what your APY is, your daily APY, and the liquidity that's in that pool. Now, Acryptos has these 4 core vaults that essentially you can get some really high APY on for the Acryptos token itself. And again, you can get Acryptos at Pancake Swap. So if you want some Acryptos token, you can get it at Pancake Swap, and if you wanted to join any of these pools. And let's have a look at the token. No surprise, it's up 72% in the last day. It's at $166 right now. In terms of market cap, CoinGecko does not have this up here yet. They have not changed this because this is actually breaking news. Okay, when Acryptos came out, they didn't announce a cap on the token, a circulating supply cap. So no one knew how much of it there was going to be. It was really hard to value it. But this just happened yesterday. They had a governance vote, and now we know there will only ever be 1.88 million ACS tokens, and those will be distributed over a period of 5 years. So here's the breakdown for when this distribution will happen. Year 1, 60% will be distributed. Year 2, 80% of the full supply will be out there. Year 3, then 90% of the full supply, and over 5 years, it will be 98%. Now, this was huge news, obviously, and you can see it in the price, and you can see it in the price and in the liquidity that is joining. People finally feel like they understand the tokenomics, it makes sense, and they are rewarding the platform now by putting a lot more liquidity into it. So just to do some quick math for you guys, that means that if the whole circulating supply was out there, we would be at just over 300 million market cap for the ACS token. Of course, it's going to take 5 years for that to happen. It's going to take a full year for 60% even to be out there. So we're hovering in probably around the 100 mark, very similar to AutoFarm. And back on Acryptos, you can see, so these are their core vaults. They also have Venus vaults, very much like AutoFarm. Right now, in general, I would say the yields are slightly higher on Acryptos, especially something like SXP, the swipe token. Right now, they're doing a 1-week bonus, so the APY is all the way at 275%. I'd also say make sure you are following them on Twitter because this is where they kind of announce this stuff. Okay, as you see, SXP hodlers, you are in for another treat. We've boosted SXP vault and farm weight to 15 times for 1 week. So definitely worth following them on Twitter, making sure you're up on these yields because they are always changing. And the reason to be on Binance Smart Chain is because you can move quickly. You can get in and out of stuff. Gas fees are not a barrier. But keep in mind, there are withdrawal fees or deposit fees. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So here back on AutoFarm, if you click on a vault, it will explain all the fees to you. Okay, so if we look at this WBMB pool on Venus, these are the fees here: 0.6 controller fee, platform fee, auto buyback rate, and entrance fee. So AutoFarm's a little different. They take a fee when you deposit your liquidity. Most of the other sites, like Acryptos, takes a withdrawal fee, but there are other fees built in. Make sure you know about them before you put anything in. Another thing that is unique to Acryptos is their stable swap. So you can earn liquidity by putting liquidity into their stable swap vaults. And as you can see here, they have this risk warning you can click on and get way more information. So make sure before you put anything in, you know all the risks. And then, of course, the Pancake swap, liquidity pool, yield farming, and you can compare these rates to the ones on AutoFarm. And then again, just the stablecoin liquidity. If you provide some stablecoin liquidity, you can get some beautiful yield on there. So Acryptos, another yield farming platform that I am using. I'm loving it so far. And I am loving AutoFarm as well. And I'm definitely not the only one. As I told you before, these are the fastest growing in terms of liquidity on Binance Smart Chain. But having used a lot of the different platforms on Binance Smart Chain for the last few weeks, it makes a lot of sense to me that these are the top ones growing, especially now that Acryptos has put a cap on the supply. That was key. I was waiting for that. But those are my two faves. They happen to be the favorite. Now, I wish I could be original and go way down further than the list and tell you one of my faves are these ones that haven't actually pumped yet. But these ones are pumping for a reason, and I wouldn't be telling you about them if I didn't think there was more room to grow. Even though they have grown so much already in the last few weeks, I think they're only going to grow further. If my experience is any indication, I have been slowly putting more and more in because I've been so happy with the results. So I think there's way more room to grow for Binance Smart Chain and way more room to grow for AutoFarm and Acryptos. Anyway, guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you found it useful and valuable. If you did, please smash that thumbs up button for old Milty. And let me know, since my last videos, have you moved over to Binance Smart Chain? I know a lot of you have. That's why you've been asking for more content on it. But let Milty know, what are you into? Do you agree with me about AutoFarm and Acryptos, or are you into something else? Are you using some of the other platforms and really liking that? Anyway, guys, this will not be the last video on Binance Smart Chain. So much cool stuff happening there. So if I didn't talk about your project today, that's a Binance Smart Chain project, don't worry. I've got a lot more in the works for what's coming out on that ecosystem. Before you go, would you take a second, please? Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Come on, become a Cryptowiser, and make sure you hit that notification button. We try to publish as many videos as possible, but they're all over the place. So you want to make sure you hit that notification button so you know when we've published a new video. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. My name is Milton. As always, until next time, over and out.